Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm now going to be reacting to my predictions for the F1, F2 and the F3 2024 season. I decided to not do F1 Academy as this year was my first year covering the F1 Academy, so I didn't know a lot about that series. So let's just see how right or wrong I am with these predictions. First started with F3, and my first prediction for F3 is there'll be a total of 5 drivers will be championship contenders heading to Monza. I don't know actually. Was I right? I feel like I think it was 7. I think it was 7 drivers who competed for the F3 championship. I don't know. I'm just gonna double check that. Never mind. There was 6 drivers that was competing for the championship. Obviously, we have Lena Fanaroli, Christian Mansell, Arvid Lindblad, Gabriele Mini, Luke Browning, and Dino Beganovic. Those were the 6 drivers. It would have been 7 if Oliver Goethe actually competed in the final weekend of the F3 championship. Obviously, no, he got the call up to do F2, so I was wrong there. But to be fair, I was pretty close. Gabriele Mini, Dino Beganovic, Luke Browning, um, maybe probably not Lena Fanaroli. You can maybe even say Arvid. What's his name? Arvid Lindblad. I'm pretty sure that's also another driver. Maybe even Sebastian Montoya for Campos Racing. Or even Maria Boya. No, I can't believe I said no to Fanaroli. To be fair, it makes sense. Fanaroli, he did not win a single race in his entire F3 career. Yes, he got podiums. Yes, he got poles, but he was always looked at as like the second best driving driver. Now he looked like one of the best, and it was weird. Yes, Montoya and Boya is also one of them, but I guess you could say I was thinking more. Well, I should say I was expecting more out of those two drivers, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Next prediction is about Genza Motorsports, and I think they will continue to impress, in my opinion. Let's fact check that. Did they impress? Where were they in the constructor standings? They came 10th. Yes, they will impress me by being absolutely shit. Uh, to be fair, who were the okay, I'm checking. Who were the drivers of Genza? There was Charlie Verts, Max Esterson, and Matthias Zagazeta. I don't know a single thing that happened with those 3 drivers. Generally, those 3 drivers were so quiet and were just absolutely irrelevant throughout this entire season. I mean, there's a reason why they're gone now from the series. I mean, this year was their final year of F3. Is now I think it was Dams, I believe. I'm pretty sure Dams have now replaced Genza Motorsports. So I guess it's sad to see like one of these like young teams like Genza Motorsports who isn't in F2 and was the only team in the F3 field to not be in F2 to be out of F3 is quite sad. Obviously, I think I mainly said that because of Taylor Barnard. I'm pretty sure Barnard, I think, won a couple races for Genza, which really surprised everyone. But I'm sorry, none of these drivers, like Charlie Verts, nah. I mean, he's gonna be going out to Prema next year, but I don't know that's gonna work there. Max Esterson, he's gone on now to F2, but that might be because of money. And finally, Matthias Zagazeta. I don't know. I think he's been announced to be going with Lucas Oils, I believe. So those 3 drivers are still racing in 2025, but obviously in completely different teams. But I think probably mainly Verse. I think he's going to impress quite a lot of people. That's also, well, mainly it's also because that Charlie Verse is obviously the father of a former F1 driver, Alex Verts, so that makes sense. Let's also fact check that. Where was he in the standings? I think I need to scroll down a lot. Charlie Vert was 22nd, and he wasn't even the highest Genza driver. That was Maxwell Esterson. He was the highest Genza driver by only 1 point. And then Matthias Zagazeta, he finished out in 25th with 8 points. So no, Charlie Verse was not impressive. I mean, if I'm having a look, like, I guess you could say maybe Verse got, like, I think, what was it, maybe, 4th place or maybe even 5th place in Australia. That was like the only time he even scored points this year is by gaining points to Australia. That's all. Has not been anything else other than scoring points in Australia at that feature race. Next up is, I think, there'll be 3 constructors who will be competing for the constructor championship. That being Prema, Trident, and Hitech. I also don't know about that. I definitely know that Prema and Trident were one of the teams that competed. I don't know about constructors. It's like, I had to say I'm wrong. I think it was mainly between Trident and Prema. If not, Prema was just running away, but I think it was mainly Prema and Trident. Hitech, I'll be honest, wasn't that bad of a shout. But third was ART, fourth was Campos, and fifth is only Hitech. And that driver lineup from Hitech, that had Luke Browning, Martinez Senshorn, and Kian Shields. I'll be honest, Kian Shields, he was a massive disappointment this year. Senshorn, he was alright, and Luke Browning, I mean, he was competing for the bloody championship, but obviously, it shows that yes, you might have, one good driver, but you need to have all of your drivers being good. Obviously, no offense to Senshorn or Shields. I think Senshorn was very, very good. I thought he definitely had some good moments. Just Kian Shields was a bit of a disappointment. But that just kind of shows that having a good driver lineup in F3 is extremely important. Mainly looking at Hitech and Luke Browning. He impressed me a lot last year, and I think he's going to continue that. The Williams Academy driver, he was really, really good, incredibly consistent. He's just had a lot of bad luck in some type, so I think Brownie, he's definitely going to put Hitech on his back. He did. To be fair, he really, really did. I mean, if I go back to the standings, Luke Brownie, he finished 3rd. The next highest was, I'm guessing it was Senshorn, who finished down in 18th. 18th was Martinez Senshorn. Like, that's, like, yes, granted, he did miss out on one race week, one race week, which I believe was, it was Silverstone, because he competed in the GP4 championship or something, like, basically a championship that he wasn't allowed to compete in, or he didn't tell the FIA that he was competing in that championship. So, yeah, I mean, he was barred from racing in that race. So, yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a disappointment, I'll be honest, from Hitech, but Luke Browning definitely put this team on his back. And my champion for F3 is Gabriella Mini. I think he is going to be champion. Oh, if only one, he didn't get passed by Lino Flaneroli on the final corner, Monza, and later got disqualified. To be fair, I mean, then he would have potentially been champion. But Mini, he was a driver to beat in F3. To be honest, he was like the top driver of the championship in my opinion. It's just that I feel like later into the season, there was a lot of bad luck. There was a lot of mistakes coming out of him, and Flaneroli, he caught up, and Flaneroli even showed of how consistent he is, and he was bloody goddamn consistent. Yes, he didn't win a single race, but he was very, very, very consistent to even be a championship threat and even win the championship as well at Monza. Yes, I finished in 2nd, but I mean, I do feel bad for Mini. But just because he was leading the championship from like the very start, and he was just looking so good. It just really sucks, I'll be honest, for Mini. But I mean, it's still not too bad of a shout. He came 2nd, which I mean, yes, is not first, but still a bit better than, I don't know, a driver that I predicted finishing 6th or 7th in the Sandy. So at least that's good enough for me. Let's now move over now to F2, and I think the new car for F2 will come out swinging. That's a very subjective prediction. I don't know because I'll say this. I think having like the turbos back, like the wind up turbo or like the little like whistling noise, that was great. But did the car like improve the racing? It was I don't know. I think there was definitely some races which was it like the car was very very good, but there was also some races where it was just dull. So I don't know. I don't know if I was right on this, I'll be honest. Like, I don't know if it's wrong or if it's right. I generally have no idea. It's a new car. Basically, everyone is now back in a level playing field. It's an absolute. It's new for everyone. It's foreign to everyone. So it's going to be weird to see like other teams. I don't know, like PHM for example, PHM AIX Racing to be really competitive, and they could probably be battling with the rest. And I just accidentally predicted that AIX Racing was gonna be. Okay, you know what? I just because I said that, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, you know what? This car produced some good racing. Like, to be fair, like it definitely closed the field. I mean, hell, look at like coming to the final weekend. There was only a .5 of a gap between Isaac Haja and Gabriel Bortoleto. So it definitely produced some good racing in a great championship battle. If just only Haja could get his ass out of the starting line, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm going to talk more about ARX and Josh Dirksen in my moments of the season video because I have a lot to say about that. But you know what? Just because I predicted AIX Racing to be competitive, I'm just going to say it. I think this car definitely helped. Next up is I think there's going to be 6 to 7 drivers will be championship contenders heading to upward. No, there was just three. Bortoleto, Haja, and Paul Aaron. I mean, could you maybe say that this is a bit of a disappointment of championship contenders? Yeah, but this is also me thinking like Prema wasn't going to fall off a fucking cliff. This was also me thinking that more drivers like Victor Martins, for example, was going to be competitive. Maybe as well potentially Jack Crawford. Um, maybe as well like Pepe Marti. Like those type of drivers, which I thought and I think were going to be competitive, they kind of weren't, which kind of surprised me. Especially Victor Martins, who I thought he was going to be really really good and really up there, battling with the field. And considering that he was with ART who won last year, I thought he was going to be competitive. No, he was like a midfield at best, and it kind of surprised me there. So with us only having three championship contenders was definitely a disappointment, but I guess it also shows who is a great driver and who's a good driver in the F2 series. It's going to be a season to remember. I'll be honest, in 2024 for the F2 season, just because there's so many great talent. I don't know if it's gonna be a season to remember. I think there were definitely some good moments, like some good racing, but I don't think this season is going to be a season to remember as an oldie, for example. Like, this was an amazing year, but we should bring this back. Like, I don't think that's I don't think people are going to look back fondly on this season. Next up now is I have Ratomo Miata. Will probably actually impress. I mean, he's a Super Formula champion for a reason, right? No, he did not impress. I can say Ratomo Miata was weird. I mean, I had hopes for Miata and he didn't really deliver. I mean, Miata, he finished in 19th. 19th in the standings. Like, that's pretty disappointing. Where his teammate, which was who was his teammate before Funroli replaced him? It might have been Maloney, I believe. Like Zane Maloney, he was like he was looking like a championship threat, a championship contender. But no, I mean, Miata, yeah, he was just a disappointment. I mean, I was very disappointed in Miata. I thought he was going to do well. I thought he was going to be competitive. Luckily, he is going to be back for another season, which is good. But he was just a bit of a disappointment in my eyes for this year's F2 season. And my champion for F2 is Andrea
Kimi Antonelli. I mean, anything that this kid touches.
I mean, the reason why I predicted Antonelli to be champion is because, like I said, you put him in any vehicle and he will just win. It's kind of like Kyle Larson, but just maybe I guess you could say like a younger version of Larson, and not really into choking. But either way, I mean, Antonelli, he's a special driver. He's one of those drivers which is a rare sighting in any racing driver where he can jump on anything, he'll be instantly competitive. But here in F2, just because of how competitive the field was, in my opinion, he kind of struggled. And it showed at the start of the season where he kind of struggled at first, but then he slowly and slowly improved. And then also he won at Silverstone. I think is what he won in Hungary as well, I believe. So he can win races. He's very, very competitive, and he's been on the podium a couple times as well. So, like, the talent is there, but he just wasn't. Maybe the F2 car wasn't suited for him or something. I have no idea. But to be fair, that's also it's a bit of a massive bridge from forming the regionals and then jumping all the way up to F2, avoiding F3. So it was definitely a bit of a jump for Antonelli. And he got what six? I'm pretty sure he got six in the championship, which is still pretty good for a rookie. But still, I mean, I guess I was expecting a bit more from him from past achievements.
Now let's move over now to F1, and my first prediction is unlike last year where it was just dominated by Red Bull, I think McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes will grab at least one win each.
Yeah, that's a massive W on my books. Wow. Yes, but all those teams got at least one win each. Yeah, it was elite. Ferrari and McLaren, both of them were the class act of the field. Both of them were very, very good this year in 2024, with both their drivers even being very, very competitive. Mercedes was a bit of a long shot, but still got wins. I mean, Russell and Hamilton both got wins, which is really saying something. So I think this is damn, that was a raw reaction. I did not know I made this prediction, so that's good in my books.
Next up is maybe one of the worst naming teams at Visa, Cash App RB, or VCarb is how people are going to say it. I think they're going to be a solid midfield team.
I don't know why this was a prediction, but I mean, they they were they were a solid midfield team. They weren't. I mean, okay, it was such a weird year for VCarb because obviously the start of the year was Snowden and Ricardo. Then Ricardo left mid-season. Then Lawson came in, and they were like they were just all right. I mean, I would maybe say that VCarb were maybe at the tail end of the midfield, but I still consider them as a midfield team. Like if I'm having a look at the constructor standings, obviously the top four: McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes. Those are like the competitors, and then we have Aston Martin, Alpine, Haas, and RB. Those are the midfield, and then Williams and Stake as the back markers. So I guess this was a prediction, but I don't know why this was a prediction for some reason.
I have high hopes for them. I mean, Ricardo and Sonoda, both of them are very capable drivers, and both of them are also chasing for that Red Bull seat that could actually be one of theirs if Perez doesn't perform well.
No, it's potentially going to be Liam Lawson. Even though I've actually heard stuff that Sonoda might actually be in that seat, but we'll see what happens.
Another team that I have high hopes for is Williams. I think they will continue their upwards trajectory. I mean,
No, 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 not at all. They were shit, to be honest. I mean, I thought Alpine was going to be bad, but no, they were. Williams was pretty crap. I mean, I guess this was also me putting on hype on Alexander Albon being competitive, but to be fair, he kind of wasn't. He kind of wasn't competitive, which is the problem. So I don't. Yeah, it was not a good year for Williams. I mean, they had to replace Sargent with Franco Colapinto, which to be fair, he was very impressive, but like late onto the season, he kind of looked normal. Like he kind of looked like that Albon was a better driver. Like yes, there was times where we were a bit worried for Albon's career because Colapinto was kicking his ass, but later half into the season looked like the edge suddenly to went towards Albon. So even though that yes, Albon basically had two teammates, I guess Albon was the winner out of those two team battles, but Williams was just not good. I mean, they basically plumped back down to square one.
But a driver who I think is going to struggle is Lance Stroll. Now, you may call me Lance Stroll.
Yeah, he did struggle. I mean, everyone remembers the infamous Brazil moment where he got off the track, he aquaplaned off the track, and then decided to drive through the gravel trap and not just reverse. Idiot he is. Yes, he struggled. I don't know what else to say.
And McLaren. Let's talk about McLaren now, as I think both of their drivers will get their first win.
Yes, yes, I did. Um, Miami was interesting. I mean, I guess people could definitely say that Norris got that win handed to him, which is absolutely fair. But I mean, look at like the Netherlands Grand the Dutch Grand Prix, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. There's races that Norris actually won. To be fair, he won fair and square. There wasn't any like manipulation of the safety car or anything, so he was a very good driver there. Piastri's first win will always be remembered as a bottle job for McLaren, where they kind of fucked up his strategy. But I'm glad they at least got a win. I mean, and hell, if you don't want to count Hungary, then you can count Baku. So, I mean, at least, like, yes, these two drivers' first wins were a bit controversial, I guess you can say, just a tiny bit, and like a bit handed to them on a platter. But at least they have other wins that can back up their first win.
Next up is Fernando Alonso, as I think he'll be close to winning, but will just come out short.
He wasn't even close. He wasn't even close on winning a single race. I mean, it was a bit of a disappointing year for Aston Martin as a whole. Yes, I predicted Stroll to struggle, and he did struggle, but to be fair, Alonso definitely had some good moments. He was, I mean, he was dragging that dog of a car to points somehow, but yeah, it was just not a good year as a whole for Aston Martin. We'll see how they go now with Adrian Newey now in the lineup, but I hope that they don't struggle like they did this year.
Final prediction is yes, I think Max Verstappen's gonna be champion of the world, yes, bloody yada yada. But I think it's gonna be closer. I think Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, he's going to push him.
None. I mean, Leclerc definitely pushed him, but not Hamilton whatsoever. Um, Lando Norris was the main driver who pushed him, and even he bottled it a bit. I guess I wasn't really thinking that McLaren was going to be this good this year compared to Red Bull, which I thought Verstappen is going to just be competitive. I wasn't expecting Perez to struggle this much. So, yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking um, when I made this video, where Verstappen and Perez are still going to do well. I don't think Perez are going to be competing for the championship, but I think he's going to be a solid wingman, maybe. But for drivers, but having drivers like Leclerc and Hamilton to pressure him, I think that was definitely a possibility. I mean, I don't think anyone really had McLaren to be this competitive. I don't think anyone really had Mercedes to kind of fall off like they did. I don't think anyone had Perez falling off this hard as anyone thought. So that's what I was kind of thinking when I made this prediction. But Verstappen still won. But the other half of Leclerc and Hamilton will push him. None of those drivers did. It was mainly Lando Norris. I hope Charles Leclerc does push Verstappen to the limit. I mean, I think Ferrari's going to be good. I'm excited to see how Ferrari goes next year with Leclerc and Hamilton in the lineup. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there, but I feel like next year is going to be pretty interesting. Of like four drivers, well, not four drivers, but like four teams, potentially having championship drivers, in 2025. I think that'd be good.
Now Ferrari is going to put all their eggs in Leclerc's basket, so he can improve and compete for the championship. While I still think Verstappen is going to absolutely demolish the field, Leclerc is still going to be there to capitalize on his mistakes. So there's going to be a lot more pressure on Red Bull.
Maybe replace Leclerc with Norris, and then that'll be a good prediction with Norris capitalizing on Verstappen's mistakes. I think that's that. A bit of an interesting prediction video, I'll be honest. I didn't really get most of them correct. There were definitely some weird ones like Jensen Motorsports, for example, but there were some alright predictions, to be fair. But that is really about it from me. So now, like, guys to like, comment, and subscribe. I really hope, especially on this channel. So that's really bad for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys the next time in the next one. Goodbye.